grade writers. So today I want to teach you that fairy tales are meant to be read aloud or told in ways that make readers really squeal and shiver with suspense. And in fairy tales, there are often repeated refrains that add to the tension of the story. So a refrain is like a phrase or a piece of dialogue that adds tension and excitement to the story and makes readers squeal and shiver. So some examples of repeated refrains in classic fairy tales are from Little Red Riding Hood. What big eyes you have, the better to see you with, my dear. What big ears you have, the better to hear you with, my dear, is a refrain between Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf when she gets to the grandmother's house. Another example of a refrain from a classic fairy tale is from The Three Little Pigs, where the wolf says several times, "I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow this house down." And then in Jack and the Beanstalk, the giant says, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." And he says this several times throughout the story. So today you're going to be adding a repeated refrain to your story to build excitement and tension. And you'll use this repeated refrain at least 3 times in your story. So I found a part of my story, the climax of my story, where I thought my story would benefit from a repeated refrain because I thought this part needs a bit more tension to it. It needs more excitement. It needs my readers to really be screaming and squealing with excitement. So this is what I had before, and I'm going to show you how I added a repeated refrain into this part of my writing. A moment later, in a spiral of color and flashing lights, the 6-foot monster appeared. "Ah!" cried Little Pug and Big Pug together as they shielded their eyes and jumped behind trees. "Who are you? Why are you here?" Big Pug demanded. Little Pug couldn't imagine why this mysterious monster had appeared. She stared at him with wide eyes. "I'm here to ensure that you stay 6 feet apart during these shelter-in-place times," roared the monster. Okay, yes. Oops, sorry. Okay, yes, we promise," Little Pug and Big Pug replied quietly. "I don't believe you," screamed the 6-foot monster. Suddenly, another swirl of light and colors descended, and both the 6-foot monster and Big Pug disappeared. Okay, I'm going to pause there. So I decided that this part needs a bit more suspense. So what I did is I thought of the refrain from the classic refrain from Little Red Riding Hood, and I wrote my own version to fit with my fairy tale adaptation. So I decided that right after this part, where Little Pug screams, "Ah! Ah!" cried Little Pug and Big Pug together as they shielded their eyes and jumped behind trees, then I'm going to move into this refrain. "What big eyes you have!" exclaimed Little Pug. "The better to watch for those who do not stay 6 feet apart," said this monster. "What big arms you have!" cried Big Pug. "The better to separate friends," the monster exclaimed. So I'm going to add that in right here, and then I'm going to continue with my story. "Who are you? Why are you here?" Big Pug demanded. Little Pug couldn't imagine why this mysterious monster had appeared. She stared at him with wide eyes. "I'm here to ensure that you stay 6 feet apart during these shelter-in-place times," roared the monster. Okay, yes, we promise," Little Pug and Big Pug replied quietly. "I don't believe you," screamed the 6-foot monster. Suddenly, another swirl of light and colors descended, and I added a period here because I'm going to start my last refrain right here. "What amazing light and colors you have!" yelled Little Pug and Big Pug together. "The better to make you disappear!" screamed the 6-foot monster. Capital letter, and both the 6-foot monster and Big Pug disappeared. There we go. So as you can see, I added a refrain into the climax of my story to really build some suspense. In this part of my story. So your job today is to do what I just did. Think about a refrain that makes sense for your story and repeat that refrain at least 3 times to really build excitement and tension. You might want to read through the climax of your story and add the refrain to this part. Sometimes refrains also help to end stories in a really exciting way. So you could also put your refrain at the end of your story. Or maybe you'll spread the refrain out in the beginning, middle, and end, 3 different points in your story. So it will be spread out throughout your story. I can't wait to hear the amazing refrains that you create today. Please share them with me. Have a great writing time. Talk to you soon.